We're going to have your opening address. So it's the 2 minutes now. So Richard, timekeeper ready. You've got 2 minutes to tell us about yourself.
Yes. I have a microphone on here. Is that working? Microphone. I'm Richard Brain. I'm chairman of West London branch. I've been a Eurosceptic for really my entire adult life. I've never voted Tory or Labour. I did work for the referendum party in the 90s. So I'm very, very committed to our primary cause, which is getting us out of the totalitarian empire that is the EU. As you may know, I'm a supporter of Gerard Batten. I said I wouldn't stand if he was going to stand. That's still the case. I've only come into the leadership on 2 occasions now, first because it didn't look like Gerard would stand, and now because he's been stopped. Gerard has done a huge amount for the party over 27 years, and I admire him enormously. He has a great head on his shoulders, and he has a lot of experience. He's the party's expert on Brexit. He's written books on the subject, and I think it's a great shame that he's not in the contest. That said, all of the other candidates, we have a bevy of fantastic candidates, and it's an honor for me to be here on the platform with them, and I like and admire them all. And all of them are here because of their convictions. All of them believe in the cause like I do. I come from southwest London, from Chelsea. I have fought hard. I fought very hard during the referendum to get us out. I was borough manager for Vote Leave and Grassroots Out, and we fought very, very hard to actually maximise that vote and win it. You're going to hear quite a bit of talk about the grassroots, I think, in this hustings, and I put to you this, that rhetoric is one thing. I have, as a software developer, the ability to build the software that we need to give the grassroots the power to campaign for this party and increase our vote share to 10%.
Richard, thank you very much. Well done. Nicely on time. So going clockwise, Helena Windsor, please. Your 2 minutes starts now.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Helena Windsor. I've been a party member since 1999. My husband and I supported the referendum party in 97. We knew we were going to vote UKIP in 99. It was too small a party just to vote. We had to join. So here I am. I've been a branch chairman since 2011. I'm now county chairman. I've stood 3 times in the general election. I came second in 2015, got tanked in 2017. And one thing you need to know, I am nobody's puppet. I am my own person. Having said that, I believe that I should, as a leader, be a figurehead, and I should be leading a team, and we should be all working together as a team. And I've got some fantastic experts, some fantastic people here with me. There have been some fantastic people I've heard this morning. Liz really cracked it on tax. Why am I standing? Because I was just so angry with the way that this party had lost its mojo, just lost its way over the last 3 years, ever since our hard work won that referendum. And the way that we had just let things slip. And the way we were neglecting our grassroots. And yes, you're right, we're going to hear a lot about the grassroots, because I believe that rebuilding and reviving this party must be from the grassroots up.
And
thank you, Ian.
There you have it, Helena. Thank you very much indeed. Straight over to Freddie Vatcher, please. Your time starts, Freddie, right now.
Friends, I'm Freddie Vatcher. I'm the regional chairman of UKIP for London. Pretty much everything that Richard Brain said, I have a huge advantage here. I would have said ditto to, in fact. That would be quite shameless. A leader needs to lead. A leader needs to have charisma. I don't know that I'm allowed to say this, but Carl Benjamin said it's okay, and he's very rich. I'm like Nigel, full stop. I am honest, full stop. They're separate sentences. There's no connection to be drawn. We have to take the fight to the enemy. It is about rhetoric, Richard. It is about rhetoric too. We have to win against an implacable and deadly foe that lies, that cheats, that intimidates, that cuts, that edits, that will use multiple cameras, and then it will, whichever camera we're looking at, will be the camera they're not using. Every trick in the book is played against us to make us look shifty. After all, welcome to my fellow far-right racists, Gerard too, apparently, and me too. This is all rubbish and lies. We can't allow this to happen, and this is an outrage. But we have to be smart in how we fight it. So I'm never a me too, because I'm me, and happily for the world, I'm unique. My parents made sure of that. I know how to win. I've spent my life winning. If you read the piece of paper that looks a bit like this, you should all have had it, if not, these are available to you. There's a lot in there. Even I, speaking fast, cannot get this in time. I have first-class degrees in physics, mathematics, accountancy. I'm Ernst & Young trained. I'm a businessman, a serial entrepreneur. I made enough to retire on when I was 29. The reason for using this low-quality paper is I was told that UKIP was dead, so I've had to have it photocopied locally. I was told there'd be about 20 people in the room, and I believed, therefore, it would be just 100. So for those of you who have poor stuff, it's not my fault. I'm going to win. Make me leader. I know what needs to be done. Let me do it. UKIP will be great again.
And
Thank
that's
you.
your time, Freddie. Thank you. Very nicely shoehorned into that. So coming round clockwise, we come back now to Ben Walker. Your 2 minutes starts right now.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming. It's brilliant to see so many of you here today. My name is Ben Walker. For those of you that do not know me, I hail from the southwest, so apologies if you cannot understand me. My name's Ben. So I've been in UKIP since 2011, and I've been a branch chair, I've been a parliamentary candidate, so on and so forth, all the positions that we generally do. And that's where we've got to be, guys. We've got to start focusing on the grassroots. So any reference you hear today about, we're going to talk a lot about the grassroots, but that's because that's what I do, okay? Now, UKIP hasn't made many mistakes, okay? We've been fighting on messages which are strong. The trouble is, they're not strong enough, are they? Nobody can argue that our direction has not worked so far. You know, and when I joined UKIP, I joined because it was exciting and I thought it was going to be going places. We are a parliamentary party. We are here designed to win elections, and we won't at 1%. I want to turn UKIP on its head. I want UKIP to become a grassroots campaigning machine once again. I want money directed to branches. I want members to be spokesmen and women. I want engagement from the membership. It's the only way we're going to do it and to be relevant again. I want a central policy unit, one that anybody can feed into. And we have the capacity to do this at the moment within the party for no extra cost, but one which people can feed into. So UKIP has a live manifesto, one that's rolling all the time. But I just think we've just got to stop. We've got to have a look, and we've got to go again. And I promise you that if you lend me your support, I will make sure that we will do it. Now, I can't do this alone. I need all of you to come with me. But I'm sure together we can do it. We've been low before, but we can do it again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben Walker, very much indeed. And now the last of the opening statements is from Mike Hookham, starting right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending today, because I didn't think a lot of people would attend, because I think the party's come so far down the road. I have held every position within the party, from branch official through to regional chair, regional organiser, through to the EFDD group and deputy leader. We are at a juncture now. What you will be electing is not just a leader, but you will be electing the direction that this party needs to go. We can go the direction we have been doing for the last 18 months, where we'll become a street movement, if that's what you want to be. I want to be in a party that is an electoral threat. The Labour Party are now ripping itself apart through anti-Semitism. We should be scoping them votes up. We should be scoping all of those people into our party. We are not. The Tories are ripping themselves apart because they're chasing Mr Farage. That is all going to collapse. We should be scoping those people up. We are not. We are going into oblivion. We have to get out on the mainstream media. We have to talk to them. Yes, they are against us. They've always been against us. But we've got to talk to them, because we've got to get our message across. We are not getting that message across. Please realise where we are. We're 1% in the polls. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go smashing the BBC cameras up on Westminster Green? Or do you want to be out there winning council seats, winning Westminster seats? Do you want to be an electoral threat? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to take the party. I want to talk about common sense policies. Policies that the ordinary working man and woman will vote for. Policies that they will understand. That is where we need to go. And me as leader, that is where I will take you. I know how this party works. I've been there. I've worked from within inside the tent. I know how it works.
And that's time up, Mike. Thank you very much. You made good use of every second of your 120 seconds. Right, now, folks, we go on to the craftier, more guily bit, and that is asking questions. As I said earlier, candidates, they'll come under 4 headings: structure, political climate, personal, and also about a policy, of course. Now, the first one here: if UKIP is to punch above its weight, as it must, the leader will have to recruit the very best people, fully exploit their skills, and weld them into a high-performance team. How good are you at that? Helena, you start, and it goes around. 1 minute for Helena, please, timekeeper.
Okay. Well, that is precisely what I want to do. That's precisely how I want us to operate, to recruit the best people. Now, I've only run a small business, but I've got fantastic staff. By listening to them, by being flexible, and I really want to get out. I've already identified some of the people who I think we need, particularly over in the north, and actually I can't wait to get started and get my team up and running.
Thank you. That's good and to the point. Freddie, off you go, sir. 1 minute.
I have been running businesses since I was 15. You don't run businesses, other than very small businesses, just by yourself. I've always tried to build teams who felt they were not my employees. They were not subject to me in any way, but they were equals. And this is one of my skills. I found with computer programming in one of my businesses, a long-lasting one, that my programmers who were my employees actually felt they were running it themselves. And that is a good feeling to have. I know what needs to be done. Again, I promise you that I am not just a pretty face, and indeed one of those words is redundant. It's the word just. It shouldn't be there at all. It's in the wrong place. I can charm people in a team with me to achieving the things together while avoiding conflicts and
there
battles,
is your
working
time
together.
up, Freddie. Thank you very much. So back now to this end of the room. Ben Walker, your 60 seconds, please.
Can I stand up?
You can stand
Yeah,
up, indeed
okay.
you can. Please do.
Okay, so I've talked a little bit about in my opener about carrying the membership with us. Over some time now, we've lost some very good people, but the truth of the matter is, we still have a huge amount. You're all sat here. We've got to bring you with us. The leadership team has to be exactly that. It cannot be just one person. It couldn't just be me. I'm not big enough and ugly enough to do it on my own. I'm ugly, like Freddie, he said, but I can't do this alone. We've got to do it together. So when I talk about the spokes roles for everybody, that's trying to bring the membership with me. That's utilising the skills and the talent that we have within our very own ranks. That has to happen. And I want to strengthen our structure. If our structure is strong and our policies are good and our shop front policies are really good, coupled with a strong structure and good people, we can do this. Thank you.
Ben, thank you very much. For the other candidates, I'll read that question again because it's a long one. If we're going to punch above our weight, you're going to have to recruit the best people, get the most out of them, and transform them into a high-performance team. That's what we're on about. Mike, go on, please. 1 minute.
I've always been a team player, right from when I was in the military, right through my working life when I had a building company. I've got a very good team around me now, very good team, because I couldn't have done over the 5 years what I've done with Calais and with the fishing and with everything else. It's all about teamwork. It's bringing that team on, and I've been very successful in that. But we have an immense amount of talent within this party, and it's always been ignored. Farage used to ignore it. It was always ignored. We've got lots of good people out there that are pushing for ideas, and they've always been ignored. We need to bring those people on. We need to listen to what they're saying. We need to get them to help us build policy and rebuild this party, because we need to rebuild this party. This party is needed now more than ever. And we will do that under my leadership. I will listen to people, and I will bring that teamwork on and work with them, and they will work with me.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you very much. And there you go, Richard. I'm not going to read the question again. Over to you for 1 minute.
Thank you. The first thing that I'm going to do is appoint a head of human resources in the party, and that person is going to have the responsibility of bringing talent forward. But the second thing that's going to help that person do his or her job is there is going to be a forum where people discuss policy, ideas, every kind of suggestion for how to run the party, how to run the country. So those people are going to be visible to the head of human resources. But the most important team in UKIP is you. The most important team is the members. The members work so hard. They've put out millions and millions of leaflets. They've persuaded people in pubs and in restaurants and at work, and they've gone on the television and they've put posters up, and everybody here has done that work for the party, and you've done an amazing job because we've changed the world. So we don't need to be like the Nigel Farage show with one man in charge of everything. We need to be a party where everybody gets heard and there's a proper filter so that the leadership can hear them and hear the best ideas.
Thank you.
Right, Richard, thanks very much. The Grand National's underway. Well over the first hurdle. The riders are still on the horses, or on their chairs at least. Question number 2. It's about the political climate, the pan-European political climate, really. We had a Signor Anthony Scatina here a bit earlier talking about Italy and the climate there. How closely should UKIP embrace the other leading Eurosceptic parties of Europe? And starting this, Freddie, go for a minute.
Fortuitously, serendipitously even, I met the gentleman and we share, his girlfriend seems to be a relative of mine. We should embrace them, simply, and I don't mean girlfriends, I mean other parties. We have to be selective about what we do, but here there is no question. Look, a Somalian who wants Somalia to be open to visitors, but it to be mainly for Somalians, is called a Somalian. You know where this one's going, don't you? A Frenchman who does is a Frenchman, but an English person who does is a racist or far right or something. It's just nonsense. If we're cowardly about this and we're agreeing with them, we're certainly not agreeing with them. They're wrong. And therefore we embrace them with care, always, because we want to, sometimes we can select between 2 or 3 sensible parties in a country. They tend not to be the ruling ones, though. So be smart, but embrace. Thank you.
Freddie, thank you very much indeed. So back round to Ben Walker, please, for your 1 minute on this question.
I believe that any party who shares a common interest with us, we should work with them, whether that's here or whether it's in a European neighbour's country, whatever it is. We should work with these people. They have a common interest with us, and we all want to get out of the EU. And that's never going to change. The one thing that has to change with us is that we have to think about what we're going to be moving forward. We're always going to be the original party of Brexit. What we've got to be now is the party of post-Brexit, and that's what I want us to concentrate on.
Right, Ben, thank you very much indeed. Remember, it's how closely should we be working with these? Mike, go on for 1 minute.
I agree with Ben. I mean, I worked with lots of groups and parties within the European Parliament when I was on the Fisheries Committee and the Defence Committee. We have to work with these people. But hopefully, October the 31st, we'll be out. We'll be away from these people. And I think Boris will deliver that because he has to deliver it. But I think it's very, very important to work with all political parties where necessary to get our message across and get our point across and get the policies that we want, get them across. And we will, and you know, as I say, I've worked with these people in the past, and you know, if we are not so toxic with these people, and because a lot of them hate us, because we won Brexit, because we was the party that for 26 years that fought for Brexit, and we won it, you won it, you won Brexit, and these people hate us now. But yes, we will work with them and work with anybody that wants to come and work with us.
Thanks very much, Mike. Richard, over to you.
The answer to this question is simple. The line is very clear. The line is ethno-nationalism. We should not associate with ethno-nationalist parties. We are a non-racist party. That said, I had a meeting 2 months ago with someone from the Lega. I've got a fantastic member of my branch who's actually stood for Lega, who is Italian and who helps UKIP and is a fantastic activist. So we must make friends with parties that we do agree with, that do agree with our policies and that we are like. And that, don't forget, includes parties that wish to see their country's borders properly policed and controlled, because that's what we want in this country. So there is your line, ethno-nationalism. If you're racist, If you think that politics is about promoting one race, then sorry, you're just not our friends. If you're a pro-borders party that is non-racist, then you are.
Thank you very much, Richard. And finally on that question then, Helena, please, how close should we embrace them?
Right, thank you. Well, Richard's just raised a very important point of the sort of people we perhaps want to distance ourselves with, and I'm not going to reiterate it because I agree with you 100%. As a scientist, of course, I'm used to working totally across borders, internationally. So that as a concept, absolutely. Why shouldn't we work where we've got common ideas, where we can share experiences? I did wonder whether the question is about now or beyond Brexit, because there's quite a big difference between fighting to get out, us still fighting to get out of the EU, and other parties in other countries that are fighting against attempts to prevent them policing their borders, prevent them having their own say. And when we're beyond Brexit and we're out there. Now, I'm a freedom fighter, so I will always fight alongside those who also want a free and sovereign nation.
Helena, thank you very much. So over the second hurdle we go. Nobody's fallen off their chairs yet. Question number 3. You're not going to fall off your chairs on this one, unless it's creasing up laughing. But the moment you stop laughing, you'll realise it's a very serious question. It's a cynical question, but it's about structure. So do feel free to burst out, yeah? Here we go. Should we abolish party leadership contests in their present form and have leaders simply appointed by the NEC rather than elected by the membership? Well, it was given to me. I've had to ask it. So we're starting at this end of the room, Ben. I think you're the first one to jump this hurdle, please.
Unfortunately not. I think we still have to run with the leadership process. The one thing that I would say is I am a serving member of the NEC. However, I wasn't party to the discussions and the decision that was made over Gerard being able to stand. And I would say that I would much rather have stood against Gerard, because at least then you would have had the opportunity to choose me or him or whoever. But unfortunately, we're not there, and I have to play by the rules. But I think we have to run with these leadership elections, and I know that this one is problematic, but this is UKIP. Let's get our nuts down, and we'll get through this, okay?
Ben, thank you very, very much indeed. Over to you, Mike. Your turn.
We're a democratic party, we always have been. And the NEC was voted for by you people. I've always wanted a regional NEC, and that was being discussed many, many times. I think the first time we discussed it was back in the first Doncaster Conference. They're the people. I support the NEC. I support the decision, a very tough decision that was taken. I support that. And it's up to the membership to vote for the NEC, and it's up to the membership to vote for the leader. And may that long continue, and may it long continue that this party is a democratic party, and the membership have a say in that party.
Mike, thank you kindly. Let's keep rolling, Richard.
I'm not going to make the obvious joke and say, that's fine as long as you appoint me. But no, it is terrible what's happened. But I would say this, I defend the NEC. It often has to make very, very difficult decisions with inadequate information. You cannot expect every NEC to get every decision right. I hope that this situation that we're currently in will change. I support Gerard, and I hope somebody changes their minds and actually gets him back into the race. I have asked Gerard to be my deputy if I'm elected.
Richard, thank you very much. Helena, keep going, go on.
Okay, let's keep this. Right, I said that I felt we needed to rebuild this party and revive it from the grassroots up. So it's obvious what I think. Both the NEC and the leader, our choice of leaders should be a democratic decision. Do we want to go back to, certainly in the Conservative Party, where it's, the old boys tap on the shoulder of the other old boy, all the old boys network? No, this is a democratic party, and it must always be put to the membership.
Helena, thank you very much. Mr. Freddie.
We are not hypocrites. The reason that the leader should be selected by you is because you are a microcosm of the general population. And leaders win elections for parties. You need a leader who leads, and who leads from the front, and who takes the battle to the other side. The other side are frightened of. That's where we'll win elections. We'll win elections in the mainstream media. We'll win elections by fighting. I give you Churchill till you're unfortunately sick of it, but I've been told not to do so. All the speeches are in here, permanent Google. My views are we should attack, and to do that, we have to have you, the people, making this decision as to who to appoint. To defend the NEC, I'll just say we're not privy to their entire decision-making, and for legal reasons, we probably won't be. However, choose a leader yourselves. Choose a leader who will lead, for heaven's sake. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you.
Right, question number 4. Let's keep moving. This one's personal, but to do with the media as well. Some of you can answer it yes or no. Some of you might want more, but it's up to you. You've got 60 seconds to enjoy yourselves, and it's starting, I think, with Mike, this one, isn't it? Have you any useful skeletons in your closet for the media to feast upon?
Useful skeletons? I don't know what a useful skeleton is. I've been in
Useful to the media.
Well, useful to the media. I've been an MEP for 5 years. If there was anything there, the press and the media would have already found it out, and they would have already crucified me with it. As an MEP, I've had the Wales press sitting outside my house, and I mean the Wales press, where my wife was followed to the shops, my kids was followed to school and to work. I've been under the microscope by the press and the media. If there was anything there, they would have found it. And if anybody out there has got any skeletons for me, please tell me, because I've led a boring life, really.
Thank you very much. Keep going, Richard.
No.
Thank you. To which the answer, the next question is always, if it's not in your closet, make sure it's gone down into the cellar and you've buried it firmly under concrete. I think David Bamber in the third row told me that one many years ago. Right, okay, keep going. Next person, please.
Is it for this
Helena.
closet question?
Helena, please.
I've got 2 very left-wing daughters because they're both in the arts. One's a sculptress and one works in the theatre. Can I shut the closet now, please?
Freddie, please.
This is happening increasingly often, and I really want to protest about it. Richard stole my answer again. My answer is no, absolutely not. No, none whatever. My former wife is my referee. For those of you who've been married and gone through it, you understand the degree of this. Further, one would have to be considerably more insane than merely people standing for leadership of UKIP to have a CV as detailed as that, where every bit is there since I was 15. You have every month covered. Don't trust, test. And I'm saying this to you, all of you. Use your brains, use your noddles. We can't afford it this time to go wrong. This is survival. Other people may have said this in the past. We proved that we could still survive them. We can't survive another one now. Please test. Please test. Thank you.
Freddie, thank you. And lastly, Ben, we're back at this end of the room.
Okay. Well, I'm not really used to coming out of the closet on stage, so please bear with me, okay?
Feel free.
Okay. This question is obviously directed at me. There is one thing in the press, or has been, which is an issue that I had business-wise in 2017, one of which is dead. I wouldn't be here now. I had a fine to pay, and it's paid, and I have no record. I'm very sorry about that, and one thing you will get from me is I will always be very honest, and if I'm in the wrong, I will say sorry. And I think that's how you deal with these things. Everybody makes mistakes. We're all human. I am no different to you. But I think if there's a level of honesty and openness, I can't see any problems really with anybody trying to move forward in a positive way.
Ben, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I remember an old boss of mine at Sun Alliance. He said, Mike, the only people that don't make mistakes are people who don't do anything. And it's true in life for all of us. It certainly is. Okay, here we go. So the 5 Lancaster bombers have not been damaged by flak yet. So let's fire an 88mm at them now, because it involves a few numbers. That always gets things going. It's about structure. In the last 18 months, the party was rescued from the brink of financial collapse. How do you plan to fund the party over the next 18 months? And Richard, are you firing first?
Yeah. Well, the first thing is I'm going to grow the membership. I'm going to go on the media. I'm going to solve party communication problems both internally and externally. And we're going to go out there like Carl, and we're going to speak to people and get them interested in the party again, in our great manifesto, in our politics. So that's the first thing that's going to improve party finances. The second thing is we're going to go and find more donors. And we're going to have a team to do that, an expert team, and they're going to go and find the money because it is out there, particularly in small businesses. There are a lot of small business people in this country who recognize that UKIP has tried very hard, at least, hasn't quite yet succeeded, but has tried very hard to make their business and their lives easier by taking away the red tape of the EU and allowing people to actually get on with their work and earn. So I think there's a lot more money there from small businesses, and we need to approach them for it and ask them to help us.
Thank you very much, Richard. And so therefore on to Helena.
Well, in recent months, because we drifted away from being what we should be, a political party, we have lost donors. And I would hope that my change in direction would bring some of those donors back on board. Of course, we need to inspire other people to join the party, inspire the nation with our vision of what it can be like beyond Brexit so that we get people to join the party. And by our hard work, our grassroots people's hard work on the ground, recruiting members, working in their communities. That will help. And the new donors, small businesses are precisely one. Now, I funded, through my business, I funded Paula Walters's stall and leaflets. And I offer to do that because I work in the veterinary field. And we've got lots of areas where we can just maybe even crowdfund for specific projects which we know will appeal to certain communities.
Thank you, Helena, so much. Over to Freddie.
I'm sorry to have to say this, but we have to put, I would have said clear white space, but it's too dangerous nowadays, clear blue sky between myself and other candidates. Here I disagree with Richard. When somebody starts saying they'll solve a problem by forming a committee, I start thinking of yes minister and yes prime minister. You don't do that. You cause the problem by causing committees. No, I am trained with a big four firm of chartered accountants. I'm not an accountant, I promise. I have numerous links with the business world, and we're talking about not just small, medium-sized, and big businesses. We have to go to them to sell them that. They must not think they are taking on any taint or blemish, otherwise they'll have nothing to do with us. They'll be either anonymous, in which case we want to attract more of them. I've got exactly the skill set that's required to raise money. We need to raise a lot of money, and this means when there's six-figure, seven-figure sums in a row. And we won't do that when we're a street-fighting party. I'm afraid that's just the case. People may be snobs, but they can have the power to keep their money in their pockets. I'll sell this one, and I'll win. Thank you.
Freddie, thank you very much. So, Ben, where are you going to find the dosh that we need?
Okay, so the first thing that we've got to get right is we've got to stabilise and refocus on our structure. Once we get that right, we can couple that with some really strong shopfront policy windows, like slashing or getting rid of VAT, like revoking the parental rights of grooming gang rapists, like being the party of law and order, being the party of defence. All of those things coupled together, we get our messaging right. Secondly, what I'd like to see, one of the only roles that I would like to see created, is a professional fundraiser who could be self-funding for their own wage, if you like, but someone who's going to work hand in hand with the treasurer, someone who's going to work on the shop, someone who's going to get these donors back. But all of those things together as a combination are the only way that we're going to start generating income again.
Ben, thank you. Mike, we need money, lots of it. Where are we going to get it?
It's easy to say we're going to grow the membership. Yes, hopefully we will, and that will happen when we get the direction right. We've lost some of the biggest donors that we had. They've all walked away from us. A party needs £5 to £6 million to operate successfully. And to do that, we have to be an electoral threat with policies that people will vote for. And when we start winning seats, local seats, Westminster seats at a later date, people will come back on board. And people will only invest in us if we are a party that is investable. And you know, if they see us as this minor 1% party, this street movement, nobody's going to invest in us. So we've got to be an electoral threat. We've got to get out there and work. That's along with getting the membership out there working on the streets, getting back out there, campaigning again. But we have to be an electoral threat once again.
Mike, thank you. So there's 5 questions down. Now this question will be the last one before tea break, and it's about policy. In an age of terrorist atrocities, many countries, including Tunisia, have banned face covering in public so that security cameras can be effective. Should the UK follow suit? Lady first.
Right. The first thing I would do is turn it back. Everybody has a right in their institution, their shop, their sports centre, their airport, their bank, to say no face coverings for security reasons. And that means no face coverings, it means everybody. That's their right to choose to do that. Now, I would not, because UKIP should not be about banning things, I would not say, no, you can't walk down the street if you happen to feel, for whatever reason, that you've got to wear a niqab. But I have to admit, particularly when you have had crimes perpetrated by men dressed in these garments, that we may have to introduce this. And it will be and should only be for security reasons.
Thank you very much.
Largely what Helena said. I'm a natural libertarian. It goes against the grain to try and ban anything like that. That's absurd. In that case, they've won, you know, because we've modified our behavior to fit in with them. And who is the them here? People who want to change our culture into one that is repressive, where we cannot talk freely, where freedom of speech is under attack, where freedom of expression is under attack. And it'd be crazy then if we banned things in a response, because it gets Orwellian then. We're going in a logical circle. So we mustn't ban it. We must up punishments, detection. We must work faster. We're not interested in getting at some lady who decides, for religious reasons or whatever, it's not really religious, to cover her face. We want to get at the one who's got a suicide vest underneath, and might be a man. This is obvious. We've got to play this smart. We've also got to tie, in the eyes of the public, why we are asking ourselves this question now and how we got ourselves in this mess. Because that is our unique selling point over the Brexit Party, because they won't dare to tell you.
Thanks, Freddie. Right, back to this end of the row, Ben. Face covering. Should we oust that from this country?
Okay. So essentially, UKIP is a libertarian party. That's what the Constitution says, and that's essentially what I am, a classical libertarian, if you like. Someone who believes in small government, but regulation with teeth. I do believe, though, however, when it comes to face coverings, that when you enter a public space or a public building, then yes, you should remove them. Just like when a motorcyclist goes into a petrol station, they're expected to remove their crash helmet. In the interest of security, I think there has to be a place for that argument. However, like Freddie quite rightly says, I don't think we should go across just blanket banning everything. That's not what we do, okay? But there is an argument to say we should be doing those sorts of things in the interest of security. But what I would like to see with security is that our security services are better funded, so they are more responsive, so they can close things down.
Ben, thank you. Okay, Mike, your take on this, please.
This was a flagship policy that Paul Nuttall pushed. It was unenforceable then, and it's unenforceable now. You cannot, I can walk down the high street dressed as Charlie Chuckles and nobody can say a thing to me. When I come through the passport control in Hull, there is a sign that says motorcycle helmets and balaclavas must be removed. That should say all face coverings must be removed. You can enforce that. You can enforce that in the post office, you can enforce it in the bank. So yes, on that level you can, but you cannot enforce it walking down the street. You can, I've seen some, right, you know, outfits of people walking down the street, you know, a crime on clothes. But it's a thing to me that you cannot enforce. We're a libertarian party. You cannot enforce this. Paul tried to do it. It was ridiculous then. It's ridiculous now. Do it for a security reasons only. That is the best way to get this through.
Right, Mike, the last one on this question is Richard.
I don't agree with the anti-liberal ban of face coverings. People should be able to wear face coverings. I am much more worried about scripture which promotes violence and oppression, especially oppression of women. So that's what we should be worried about. Not face coverings, which is a sideshow. It's fiddling while Rome burns. We should be worried about the funding of people who preach pro-violent ideologies. That really matters, not what you cover your face with.
Right, Richard, thank you very much. Right, ladies and gentlemen and
Should we
Chairman,
move
that's
the
6
kitchen,
questions that we've now had.
Richard?
That fits nicely into the
women
first
go
half.
back
Before
to
the
the kitchen?
candidates leave the stage, can I have one last plea? Can I have my balls back, please? Because I can't play croquet tomorrow otherwise. So everyone be back, please, in 30 minutes. Thank you.